Yeah, YouTube, everyone out there. So, as you know, fucking YouTube shut down my community, so I can't post links or anything up there to keep you informed of different documents and stuff like that. So, I will read this one. This is the California Research.ca, right? So, I think it's in Canada, if I'm right. So, March 27th, 2020. I mean, 27th of March 2020. Manufactured pandemic testing people for any strain of COVID, not specifically for COVID-19, by Julian Rose. The following is from a medical forum. The writer, who is widely respected professional scientist in the US, prefers to stay anonymous because presenting any narrative different than the official one can cause you a lot of stress in the toxic environment caused by the scam which surrounds COVID-19 these days. Julian Rose. I work in the healthcare field. Here's the problem. We are testing people for any strain of coronavirus, not specifically for COVID-19. There are no reliable tests for the specific COVID-19 virus. Just like I said, people, what I said from the get-go. There are no reliable agencies or media outlets for reporting numbers of actual COVID-19 virus cases. This needs to be addressed first and foremost. Every action and reaction of the COVID-19 is based on totally flawed data, and we simply cannot make accurate assessments. This is why you're hearing that most people with COVID-19 are showing nothing more than cold, flu-like symptoms. That's because most coronavirus strains are nothing more than a cold, flu-like symptoms. The few actual novel coronavirus, and that's what I was saying before as well. Have you noticed that when it says it on the news all the time now, it's no longer the novel coronavirus, it's just coronavirus. They're not saying novel coronavirus or novel fucking COVID-19 that they were at the beginning, so that's interesting. A few actual novel coronavirus cases do have some worse respiratory... Oh, okay, there you go. That's why, because they wanted to make the more fear behind it and say it was something that it's not. The few actual novel coronavirus cases do have some worse respiratory responses, but still have a very promising recovery rate, especially for those without a prior issue. The gold standard in testing for COVID-19 is laboratory isolated, purified coronavirus particles free from any contaminations, and particles that look like viruses but are not, that have been proven to be the cause of the syndrome known as COVID-19, and obtained by using proper viral isolation methods and controls, not the PCR that is currently being used, or serology and antibody tests which do not detect the virus as such. PCR basically takes a sample of your cells and amplifies any DNA to look for viral sequences, i.e., bits of non-human DNA that seem to match parts of a known viral genome. The problem is the test is known not to work. Fucking figure's done it. It uses amplification, which means taking a very, very tiny amount of DNA and growing it exponentially until it can be analysed. Obviously, any minute contaminations in the sample will also be amplified, leading to potentially gross errors of discovery. Additionally, it's only looking for partial viral sequences, not the whole genome, so identifying a single pathogen is next to impossible, even if you ignore the other issues. The Mickey Mouse test kits being sent out to some hospitals at best tell the analysts you have some viral DNA in your cells, which most of us do all the time. It may tell you that the viral sequence is related to a specific type of virus, say the huge family of coronaviruses, but that's all. The idea these kits can isolate a specific virus like COVID-19 is nonsense. And that's not even getting into the other issues, the viral load. If you remember, the PCR works by amplifying a minute amounts of DNA. It, therefore, is useless at telling you how much virus you may have. And that's the only question that really matters when it comes to diagnosing illness. everyone will have a few virus kicking around in their system at any time, and most will not cause illness because their quantities are too small. For a virus to sicken you, you need a lot of it, a massive amount of it, like an injection, eh? But PCR does not test viral loads and therefore cannot determine if it is present in sufficient quantities to sicken you. If you feel sick and you get a PCR test, any random virus DNA may be identified, even if they aren't at all involved in your sickness, which leads to false diagnosis. And coronavirus are incredibly common. A large percentage of the world human population will have a COVID DNA in them in small quantities, even if they are perfectly well or sick with some other pathogen. Do you see where this is going? If you want to create a totally false panic about a totally false pandemic, pick a coronavirus. They are incredibly common and there's tons of them. A very high percentage of people who have become sick by other means, the flu, bacterial pneumonia, anything, will have a positive. PCR tests for COVID, even if you're doing them properly and ruling out contamination, simply because COVIDs are so common. There are hundreds of thousands of flu and pneumonia victims in hospital throughout the world at any time. All you need to do is select the sickest of these in a single location, say Wuhan, administer the PCR test to them, and claim anyone showing viral sequences similar to the coronavirus, which will inevitably be quite a few, is suffering from the new disease. Since you already selected the sickest flu cases, a fairly high proportion of your sample will go on to die. You can then say this new virus has a CFR higher than the flu and use this to infuse more concern and do more tests, which will of course produce more cases, which expands the testing, which produces yet more cases, and so on and so on and so on. Before long you have your pandemic, and all that you have done is use a simple test kit to trick and covert the worst trick to the test kit trick to covert the worst flu and pneumonia cases into, or convert the worst flu and pneumonia cases into something new that doesn't really actually exist. Now, just run with the same scam in other countries, making sure to keep the fear message running high so that the people will feel panicky and less able to think critically. Your only problem is going to be that, due to the fact there is no actual new deadly pathogen, but a regular sick people, you are mislabeling your numbers, and especially your deaths are going to be way too low for the new real deadly virus pandemic. But you can stop people pointing this out in several ways. You can claim this is just the beginning and that more deaths are imminent. Use this as an excuse to quarantine everyone and then claim the quarantine prevented the expected millions of dead. 2, you can tell the people that minimizing the dangers is irresponsible, or minimizing their dangers is irresponsible, and bully them into not talking about numbers. 3, you can talk crap about made-up numbers, hoping to blind people with pseudoscience. 4, you can start telling well people, of course, which also likely have them shreds of coronavirus DNA in them, and thus inflate your cases figures. With asymptomatic carriers, you will, of course, have to spin that to sound deadly, even though any virologist knows the more symptoms, less cases you have, the less deadly is your pathogen. Take these 4 simple steps and you can have your own entirely manufactured pandemic up and running in weeks. They cannot confirm something for which there is no accurate test. So, like we said, people at the beginning, it doesn't exist. It's just a scam. What's going on right now? They're using the COVID virus in its whole assessment of all of them joined together for their evaluation at the end, not COVID-19. And then they're saying, even on the news to you all the time, read the title. It says coronavirus. It sometimes switches to COVID-19, but a majority of it, they're not even saying COVID-19 a lot. And they know that they're saying that COVID-19 is a new strain of coronavirus. So when they say coronavirus, they're not actually lying, because everyone does have a coronavirus in them. So this is the other catch-22 that they're getting away with. This is well thought out. Don't worry about that. They've thought of which way and what way they can get away with the loopholes, etc. Just like I said before, they've claimed that basically they've been invaded on every soil right now by a foreign enemy, and because the foreign enemy is this a made-up, imaginary, hypothetical fucking COVID-19, then they're saying this is a deadly foreign enemy, and then it has these links going back to being bioweapons. So if they really wanted, they could just classify it as being a bioweapon, and then on top of that, they keep getting more and more and more of what they want in the long run anyway. So it's bizarre what's actually going on, and what we're seeing basically is the flu being advertised constantly over and over again in front of our faces and telling us to be scared of the flu. You just sit there and think to yourself just how much that really is ignorance, and that we have the main system programmers, the ones that are there to release the information to allow the public the truth and to allow everyone to know exactly what's really going on in the world, because they're the figurehead leaders that have the expertise and that kind of ideology and their job and their careers. We're supposed to listen to them, but unfortunately they're on a fucking payroll. So you have them constantly flooding us with misinformation, knowing that they're flooding us with misinformation, knowing that because they're saying coronavirus, the COVID-19 can never ever be found, and it can never ever be fucking disproven. This is the problem. It's just like they've put it to a limbo land, so it's always going to sit there and can be brought up any time in the future. And the fact that they keep using COVID, they don't use COVID-19 very much at all. They keep feeding you coronavirus. You got to remember, coronaviruses are not the COVID-19. And if COVID-19 existed, they can't even test you for it yet, because it's been so quick and a new disease that's showing up that they wouldn't even have the amount of time to run all these special tests and everything to do with if it's dangerous or can it harm you or whatever to it. So the fact is, at the moment, all we're doing is being staged, and the people really are being ignorant. We're being told that we can't go out, you can't do your normal life, because every year flu that we've been living through the entire lives is going to kill you now. You know, if you want to create a pandemic, every year that people die of flus, just make sure that you have the news crew there. Just make sure that they're right there to pick up that person as soon as they're sick in their house and to follow them all the way to the hospital and then say they have something else. Keep doing that over and over again, and you can use statistics of people dying, yes, because people die from the flu. The amount of people that die from the flu far exceeds what we're seeing with COVID-19 by itself. So it is a bizarre world. There's obviously a much bigger agenda, like we keep saying, with this. So all we can see right now is there's no the actual roundups and concentration camps being filled. So that's a good start to seeing what's going on. But I guess time will tell. And at the end of the day, remember, everything that they're trying to do is inside of your own construct, inside of your own experience, where it's run by your own spirit. If you give them permission to try to weaken your immune system through electromagnetic fields and radiation poison, then you've given them permission. Balance your spirit, control your own energy, your own biosphere, and just like anything to do with any religion throughout all of history, faith. Have faith. But know that you'll be all right. This is the main one here. You have to believe and know that you are that spirit. You are creating that energy field. This is the reason why miracles happen. This is the reason why when you pray and you have faith, then things happen as well and you're responded to, because you know. And when you know, you're connected back to your spirit and you can control the physical matrix to do what you want. And despite what people say about that, I have done that in my life, and it's been absolutely jaw-dropping to the situation of what was happening. But at that time, I knew that it was my spirit from the outside and my physical avatar connected that was controlling this matrix inside. And what happened is you cannot do what was managed to be done inside this matrix that I was showing. And this proves that everything is about the electromagnetic fields. It's about your electromagnetic body. It's about the consciousness signature working as a quantum collective, and we can manifest through using energy. This is the proof. You've got to understand what they're doing to us is using fucking energy. They're using machines to create energy. We are fucking divine machines made by the most infinite design of perfection. Nothing like a stupid fucking 5G wave can harm you unless you allow it to harm you. So no, it can't harm you. Protect yourself, protect your family, and put up your auras, make sure that you've closed all your gaps, like I say. Open the hole over your house. Make sure you've got your bubble inside of that. Fill it with the spiritual energy of emerald, and make sure that you're all protected, and keep that there. And that will protect you from any violent, interfering, breaking in, trying to be intruding energies that you don't want in your vicinity. Keep rebalancing yourself. This is basically a way that they're just trying to break away another understanding inside of the matrix that everything is energy. If you've just shifted from the Mandela effect and understand all of what's happened with us before, then you already understand that we're energy. This is another way to explain that we are made of light. We are made of electromagnetism, and we have consciousness, and that there is the main of what we are, and it's energy. Everything is energy, and now we're having energy used against us, and if we're not energy, then how can it affect us? So that's what I want people to wake up and understand. We are made of energy, and we have to start to work as a collective of the whole world. Say no to this. You go inside your mind, you open your third eye, you protect yourself, you put your energy around, the next person puts their energy around, and eventually we have a whole collective that's made shields for themselves, because we, through our subconscious, can manifest into this physical reality invisible shields, because they're really there, just like the invisible radars, just like everything else that's invisible wavelengths around you. You can do this with visualization and create it through using your subconscious connection to the superconscious to manifest it into physical reality, which is proven because it's done. I can do it. People do it. So that's all I can say. We're getting scammed left, right, and centre, but at the end of the night, it's always a fight. And this is what it is. Reality is a hard experience. And like I've explained before, everyone that had their silver spoon born in their mouth, they're on the shitty fucking low level, the low frequency, scared to get a bit of a challenge inside of the game. We're us on these hard levels. I mean, the whole design of the game was to have a tyrannic empire pushing messages towards us all the time to wake up, till it got down to the crunch, till we're in a fucking rat maze now, to the same system still going on. And basically we just seen the whole world get fucking overtaken without anyone throwing a fucking negative word that way. Well, not a negative word, but no bullets. Fuck all, mate. So we've got to understand, we are peaceful beings. You can see it. We're willing to sit inside our houses and allow an authoritarian, tyrannical organisation, because it's not really what they say they are, they're global organisation, and we're allowing them to tell us what to do at the moment. We all have faith that it'll all blow over. But think about it. If you pushed it this far into the agenda and you started to stack the fucking tents, the quarantine tents with many, many beds that aren't needed, started to open up stadiums with many, many beds that aren't needed, they've got a plan. And the plan is to eventually try to depopulate. That's what it's always been about. We've known about this for fucking ages, It's just because it didn't spring up when you were 60, or it didn't spring up in 2025, or the expected agenda that you had in your head that it would show up. All of the times that we've been trying to wake people up and people have been arguing back and forth and saying that it can't exist, it really didn't fucking matter. Because at the end of the day, they did exactly what they wanted behind all of the bickering and the arguing between everyone else. They were in the background pushing their agenda forwards, not giving a fuck. So, like I said, this is bizarre as fuck what's going on in the world right now. But us as spirit And us as a quantum collective consciousness, or just this collective consciousness inside of this physical reality understanding, if we can just fucking work together and actually really work together, combining our energies, because everything is fucking energy. We can overdo or reverse, we can do whatever we like with the physical matrix. And that's the reason why physical's getting worried. It's getting worried we're remembering that we're quantum beings. It's getting worried that we're remembering that we're divine. It's getting worried that we're connecting through and we're remembering, we're getting our tethers back and we're remembering what everything really is. And when we remember what everything is, it's all spirituality based. It's that the electromagnetic ethereal that controls this physical construct. And the physical construct wants to remain power. So what do we have right now? We have the physical construct advancing with so much power to overstand over us that no one can look for spirit anymore, because it wants to destroy that faith. It wants to destroy your inspiration to live. It wants to lower you down so much that your immune system becomes weak. You drop all your energy fields and you basically lower all of the protection that you've already given by your spirit's divinity to start with. Then after that, they can manifest more and more and more, and then they can feed off the fear that you provide, you know? So just remember, we are divine, and the whole plan of this is experience. And what you're seeing is part of that experience. You know, it may go out with a bang, and, you know, it's better to fucking fight, isn't it, than to go into a systematic ideologist fucking world where it's all, you line up, you take this, you get your medication today, we'll give you a little bit of money. Okay, you try to live off that, we'll give you a little bit of money. Oh, workers don't work everywhere, crime rates up. All the bullshit that they've got fucking planned so they can push in all of the agendas, start bringing down the constant fucking black vehicles that the UN take over everywhere, because we haven't even seen what started, people. I'll tell you that right now. This is the first plan to a giant game that they're expecting to play for ages. Like I said on my last email, you watch what happens next. You watch the relations between countries become tighter and tighter. We're already starting with Australia to accuse China of shit. Fucking I've seen Trump before accusing Iran of shit, you know? And this is what happens. This is the reason why the World War III has been flooded through the mainstream media while we're all sitting there going, fucking World War III? On a fleet? What the fuck is going on? You know? It's absolutely fucking insane. The amount of insanity, if you looked at the human race right now and you just didn't even understand what we are, you would think that we were fucking insane. Because we've been shun away by something we know about and have known about since being a little kid. And now we're told that that is what's going to make us hide inside of our fucking houses, which is bizarre as all fuck, innit? But peace, love and respect, everyone. Like I said, we are divine in the end, and that is what the most biggest threat to this physical reality is. And it doesn't matter, because this doesn't matter. And listen to what I'm really saying. Nothing matters, because nothing is really existent. And that's the truth out of all of this. Reincarnation's a game. And we do it all over and over again until we get through that electromagnetic frequency of consciousness to get to the higher state of consciousness so we can become closer to connect back to the source. So that's what this is all about. The experience. Well, this is a pretty low fucking experience. But guess what? There's more to come. And I guarantee that people won't just sit in their fucking houses, hey? If it comes down to the crunch, because at the moment we've got no Gestapo roundups or anything like that, which is absolutely bizarre if we do, because the laws just jump from absolutely fucking insanity to fucking absolutely fucking crazy, just fuck your rights kind of shit overnight. But we haven't got that yet. You know what I'm saying? We won't stand for it. I know the human race won't stand for it. We can stand inside our house for a little while, and like, fuck me, I've had agoraphobia. It means nothing to me. But I mean, I've lived inside of a house. It doesn't fucking matter. You can still know what's going on outside, but that's not the point. The point is that you have rights in this world. You were given this world and the experience by God. No one can say that we can't walk on God's fucking planet, except God. And that's the fucking truth when it comes down to it, you know. And God isn't this being that's going to come back and all that. It's the electromagnetic combined consciousness that works, that we manifest from spirit on the outside, that we deem God, which is controlling each singularity inside from that giant collective brain. And that's all we're doing right now. It's a simulated construct for your experience, like I keep saying. But the experiences are bad, they get worse, and they get fucking worse. But how can we expect this experience to change if we don't do anything to change it? If we just let it just roll out, we have free will. Our design is free will. So what this is a lesson right now to see how much we're going to use and express our free will. Because our free will is being suppressed. This is what's going on. It's a suppression of free will of spirit. It's nothing to do with the fucking COVID, really. It's a full war against the physical reality versus our spiritual understanding, our spiritual body, and our connection through to the outside of the matrix. This is what it's all about. It's to suppress you even more. But because the duality of the source always works in mysterious ways, just like God always works in mysterious ways, everyone right now has been given months to sit back and reconnect to tether from the crown to the source, to remember who they are as spirit again, to reawaken that light body and reconnect to the rest of us. And we can all do it. We've been given a chance for so long. We've actually got no distractions right now. And that's another part and parcel of this plan. So it's up to us as free will to make the next chapter in the game. Just like if you don't do anything in a game and you just stand there, the program will play itself out. You get it? So it's up to you to be a player to choose which way you're going to play it. And that's what we all have to do on the face of the planet, because we are all the blue team. And we're looking at the fucking red team. You can see the red team constantly. And half of these fucks are NPCs anyway, that you can see doing the control takeover, which means they're a fucking program. And they're a system program of the physical construct. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the suppression of being able to connect to what we really are, because the enlightenment of what we really are, and when we remember, scares all of those that are trying to create this physical construct matrix to make sure that you think it's the only thing that could ever exist. So, peace, love, and respect, and I'll leave it at that. All right, peace.